Hey, everybody, what's up? I'm Dr. Seth, clinical psychologist, Dr. Seth Meyers. I like to start with a little movement because why not? Today, I'm talking in this video about something that matters a lot, that can affect your daily life a lot if something is going wrong in this department. And that's dating, specifically, if you're dating someone and it's not going so great. Now, one of the worst feelings anyone can have when they're dating somebody is to feel like they are just nervous and on edge all the time. So there's something about this relationship that's making them anxious, making them nervous. And guess what happens if a person, after a while, starts feeling too nervous with someone? What they often do is they start to feel desperate. Desperate. Boy, that is a bad feeling when any one of us has that feeling. And probably everyone can relate to having felt desperate at some point in their life. Have you ever dated someone in the past where you just had that sinking feeling like you need to work so hard to keep them or make it work? Or maybe that's the person that you're dating right now. So, what I want to do in this video is talk about several different behaviors that are signs that you are feeling desperate in the relationship. All right. The first one is a really obvious one, and it's one of the ones that people tend to engage in the most when they feel the most desperate. And that is either over texting or over calling to try to make a connection. So, if you are finding yourself texting more than usual, calling more than usual, clocking how much time it's been since their last text response or since they called you back, or trying to really study the patterns. Wait a minute, in the past, they would have called me back and not texted, but this time they texted and didn't call. If you feel like you're turning into a mathematician, trying to understand what is going on here, trying to figure out the algorithm of what's going on here with them communicating with you, you're often in a place where you're just feeling desperate. You are feeling panicked. It's a really important sign for you to be aware of. The next sign I want to talk about, trying really hard to impress them. So you don't feel like you can just be yourself. Like, it's okay to just be who you are. Instead, what you feel like you need to do is you need to try to fabricate and embellish and make yourself and your overall life seem better than it really is. You're setting the bar so high for yourself. And you're also telling yourself that if you fabricate things in this way and you really impress them, that then finally they will want you, and also that will stick, that they will keep wanting you. The mistaken thinking here is often by telling yourself that that will be the one magic formula, impressing them. That will do it. But really, it almost never does it because you need to be with someone who accepts you for who you are. The third sign I want to talk about is jealousy and insecurity. This is one of the behaviors that can eat away at a person's mental health. It can impact negatively almost every single part of a person's life. It can preoccupy them during their whole day, starting from the moment they wake up. Did you wake up, for example, with that sinking feeling? It's often also one of the last things that the person thinks about before they fall asleep. It is constant. It is preoccupying. It almost feels obsessive, like they're just racking their brain with this insecurity and jealousy. They may do things like constantly checking social media, trying to study who the people are. Are there any new names in their social media? Any new faces? Any new pictures of people that aren't familiar to you? Again, playing like you're a detective, trying to figure it all out. Because deep down, you're afraid that there's someone new. You're afraid that there's someone new that could be interfering with your relationship, someone new that could be taking the person you're dating away from you. When jealousy and paranoia really sink in full throttle, the person you're dating, talking to anyone, interacting with anyone, emailing anyone, talking to anyone, having a simple conversation with anyone, that can feel like the biggest threat, that any little communication is truly a sign, oh, this is the one that's going to take them away. Now, of course, that's often not realistic. That's often not true. But when you're stuck feeling jealous and insecure, it sure feels true. One of the things that I recommend that people think about is a therapeutic technique that actually is often used in DBT, a particular type of therapy. And that's this one, to think about this. Something may feel real, but it's not necessarily true. So real, but not true. So it feels real to you, but it's not necessarily objectively true. It's not a fact. It feels real, but it's not true. Real, but not true. Think about that. And the fourth and final sign that I want to talk about, that you may have reached that point of just feeling totally desperate in this dating relationship, is settling for less. Settling for less. So people who start feeling desperate are much more likely to end up having to settle because they're afraid if they were to ask for what they want, if they were to assert what they really believe, what they really need, the other person would just walk away. They feel like this relationship is just hanging by a thread. And so they're afraid any false move they may make could cause the end of the relationship. So what do they often do? They start settling. Now, if this is you, one example that you may do, you may start making excuses for anything. Why they didn't call you, why they didn't show up, why they're not prioritizing you, why they're not making an effort to see you. And you make excuses for their behavior, but really what you're doing is you're just settling. You have totally in that moment forgotten what you want, what you need, because you tell yourself, unfortunately, in these moments, what matters most is what they want and what they need. And you tell yourself you're trying to do everything you can to try to keep them, but you settle. So think about these. If you have found yourself engaging in any of these four behaviors, they are often a sign of desperation. And that is not the purpose of a relationship, to feel desperate. It doesn't necessarily mean that the other person is a bad person. It doesn't mean that you need to blame the other person for this relationship not working, but it's often a sign that this is not the person for you. Because when two people have found the relationship that's really good for them and can really last, each person feels a sense of security and comfort in the relationship, a sense of trust, of being understood, and also of values, wanting the same thing. So think about what I've shared. I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, you may like some of my other videos. You can check out my whole library of videos here on my Insight with Dr. Seth channel. And you can also check out the podcast, Insight with Dr. Seth, weekly episodes, in-depth interviews on human behavior topics, self-improvement subjects, so that we can all live better lives and improve our lives in the ways that we really need to. Have a good one, everybody.